again, just clarify that is not me singing. That's MC from Homestar Cup. But yeah, game number 1 in the semifinals currently underway. In the top left side of this brand new best of 3, we've got the orange Zerg player. It is going to be Samsung Galaxy's Armani.
And in the bottom right, we have the blue Zerg player, Horror.
So I got a quick question for you, Fear Dragon.
Okay.
Normally, you're used to sticking to North American stuff, and you've got the North American scene figured out. You know the players, their play stylings, all that good stuff. Is it uncomfortable coming to Korea and not knowing a lot of things? Like, I mean, whether it's something simple like what team a player's on, or just not knowing how their builds and strategies go? Like, is that weird, I guess, for you, or is this just kind of like a fun ride?
It's a little bit of both. I think that, I mean, I obviously have heard of a lot of the players. Like, I do tune in for Olimoleagues, like, right when I wake up in the morning on Saturdays, usually anyways. So, I know Armani, I know Horror. I don't know necessarily a lot about their playstyles like I would for North American players. But it's just, it's a bit of a fun ride, because I'm just like, I don't know what to expect.
Yeah, it's...
Anything could happen.
I feel so weird at this point, because Zomgrip and I have discussed this many times, where I don't think either of us could ever specialize, not without trying to, at least, like, on a certain matchup or plays. Like, this is where the people who do offline events get huge advantages, right? Like, people like Apollo, for example, because they cast so little, they get to focus and really hone in and specialize in certain matches, and that's what makes them such phenomenal casters. Us, however, like me, is, at least in this instance, like, I know a little bit about everybody. I can tell you that Horror likes to do roaches. I can tell you that he likes to do baneling all-ins with roaches, given the spine collar defenses, like, blah, 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 blah. But I'm not sure if I necessarily, like, I've been thinking about this more recently. I don't necessarily enjoy having all this information rattle around in my brain, because I'm kind of scared of, like, what I've lost in the process. Because I know I would say a fair amount about most of North America, a lot about Europe, a lot about these Korean players. But then, like, that's great. What did I not learn or forget in the process to make room for that in my brain? Like, I'm going to get on a bicycle in, like, 3 years and be like, holy shit, I actually forgot how to ride this thing.
Yeah, it's really... God, I also sometimes feel like, because the North American players tend to retire pretty often. Yeah,
you're like, oh great, I just memorized how Peely Peely plays, but oh, he's gonna go to school full time, and now he's done.
You have no idea how many useless things I know due to, like, the interviews and stuff that I've done about, like, Saravati or, like, Midday or, like, all these other people.
You should make actual useless fact interviews or something, like, about stuff that you've picked up from players over the years. Nothing that would be shots fired, of course, I mean, but you'd be like, useless facts of Fear Dragon, Saravati, a retired StarCraft player, likes to all in on this map, and it'd be like listing Overgrowth or something.
No, it would actually be like Saravati. Actually, his primary source of lag is because his parents watch a lot of Chinese dramas exactly during the times that he's playing. It's like, oh, not even directly about the game.
Like, if you actually tried to make a useless fact, would that fly? Because that wouldn't be 99% useless facts with Fear Dragon. That would just be straight up useless. You should call it that too, like, just straight up useless facts.
Straight up useless facts.
Big Attack does finally come in, so the game's shaped up. We do have drones coming at this from behind Armani, though, so he's not super all-inning, but dedicates heavily to canceling the third of his opponent, and gets a kill, not even a cancel. This is not a good start for Horror.
Yeah,
Horror, by the way,
Horror sitting down on workers also.
Well, I was going to say, not just down on workers, losing drones, that sucks. He's going to tap out. I was going to say, he was setting up for an all-in, and that's what he needed that third for. Larva, he lost the worker, so he wasn't going to have the income. This fell apart in one very fell swoop. And Armani, I mean, I don't think Horror was expecting to lose the game there. I wasn't expecting him to lose the game there, and I don't think even Armani was. Because Armani, like, I realized, just went back to droning. Like, that wasn't something that was meant to be a kill.
Yeah. That was awkward.
I mean, it wasn't. It was consequence of action, and sometimes this does happen. And of course, someone's gonna give us shit for not talking about the game. But welcome to BaseTradeTV. Hello. I hope you enjoy your first time here on the channel. But I am honestly astonished because Horror is a good enough player for that to not happen. Too, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's so fitting that we were talking about useless facts when we were talking about things that are useless to the game.
Well, I mean, how do I say, like, I'm disappointed he died to that, but at the same time, impressed with Armani for getting a win, I guess. But
yeah, a win's a win.
Yeah, game 2 coming up on Dust Towers. Quick map picks, so it means we're going to skip ads and just get right into the action. People are informing me memory doesn't work like that. Well, then explain how I always forget things. Checkmate.
Okay, buddy.
We're good whenever they are. You've got hosts, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Have you read that thing, by the way, where you, like, apparently there's a study, there's no science or whatever, there's a study behind how you're more likely to forget something walking through a threshold, like a doorway, than any other thing?
No, but I have read a study that says that if you study for a test drunk, you statistically will perform better on the test if you also take the test drunk than if you're sober.
Interesting. Okay, well, first off, Beer Fest is one of my favorite stupid movies, and it is a stupid movie. It's one of my favorite stupid movies.
You should go watch it in Austin.
I made Zombie watch it while we were in Germany, because, Beer Fest, Oktoberfest, and
yeah.
She did not love it, but there's some pretty good parts in it. But
a
big part of the movie is specifically they can't remember how to get back to this location. It's like, well, we were drunk when we went there, so they get super wasted, and then they know exactly where to go and like what the password is. The guy can suddenly know how to yodel. Like it was drunk recall, I think is something they call it. Anyways, game number 2 here in the semifinals underway. Quick reminder, the winner goes on to fight against True in the grand finals coming up. Best of 5 after this. Spawning in the top right side of Dust Towers, we've got the blue Zerg. It is none other than Horror, who just took a pretty horrifying loss.
And in the bottom left, we have the orange Zerg player who is armed and manly. Armani!
You know it's a suit brand, right? Like, you could have gone that direction with it, too. Like, he's well-dressed.
Yeah, I probably could have. Well-dressed.
Dressed in Armani.
I actually am kind of proud of armed and manly.
But it's like, it would be like many arms, I think, more than manly. Like, I've got 7 arms, like a Hindu god. Like, I'm Armani. I'm Armani.
I'm like a Hindu god, but all of my arms are ripped.
There you go. Just start flexing. But okay, so Armani is definitely the one setting up to go for the aggression here. That speed's coming in real quick. Horror playing kind of greedy behind this. I say kind of, I mean really greedy behind this. And with the gas finishing up so quick, he's not going to have the pool ready. Armani, it looks like the Overlord should catch this. The Overlord pathing is actually kind of abnormal, so Armani has to take a slightly weirder path. But
yeah. This is kind of weird how it worked out, but this is going to be, for those who are wondering, like the 4 Banelings are going to hide in the corner, or sorry, the 4 Zerglings are going to hide in the corner because he's going to wait until that Baneling nest finishes. He's going to make 4 Banelings, and the Banelings are going to be walking in, and the Speedlings will reveal the fact that there's a big aggression and attack coming out. But the Banelings are going to be coming in and are going to have to make a slow crawl all the way across the map.
I mean, regardless of whether they make it a slow crawl or not, the point is that they'll go unseen, and Horror, he will see them, but yeah, what can you really do? His speed's going to be late compared to his opponent. He's not going to have that much. He does pull the drones away because he saw the Lings leave over here with this Overlord, so now fully aware that there's a big attack on the way, but Armani, I feel like he's best off going to the main right away. He could make a pit stop at the 3rd and try and knock it down, but truth be told, there's not a lot waiting for him, and if he gets up there, he's going to have a grand time.
Yeah, first Queen already getting picked off, unfortunately, for Horror. He started up at his 3rd, not his natural expansion, so it immediately goes down. Natural expansion Queen does come out, as well as the main base Queen, but here coming the Baneling is going to make it very hard. But, I love this. Doing the mineral walk with the drones through the Queen and avoiding the Banelings.
There's a back end of Banelings coming in. Those extra 2 did get morphed in, and he's a little bit surprised by this. Now, going off on the drones at this stage, not really important. Use them to zone out the Lings, very important, as his own Lings will win him the game. There's no Queen, there's no Spines. These drones are dying. Down to 6. This is probably going to be the series right here. GG gets called, and Armani going to take a very strong 2-0. Utter annihilation, by the way. Just devastating his opponents.
Yeah, and that kind of goes to show you play a little bit too greedy in that situation. You go for like the fast rehash because it's Dust Towers. This is a map that I think we talked about before. It's a map that you can take those 3 bases a little bit earlier a lot of the time because you defend your third. You're also defending your natural expansion, your main base. But I think it was a really good idea for Armani to just capitalize on that sort of mentality and say like, well, this is the map I'm going to go for the early pull on because people play a little bit grittier on this map.
Yeah. Quick, I gotta give some shouts. I'm sorry, we missed more resubs, guys. Swords News hit us up, and that was the last one. But then Glibberp hit us up for a 5-month resub, and Lepsid1265, thank you for the 8-month resub over there, sir. And some people going back in that memory talk, bringing up the movie Inside Out. First off, don't, because of my feels. Like, I can't, alright? But secondly, Inside Out was exactly what I had in mind when I was mentioning the memory stuff. Like, 100%.
That was a great movie.
It was. We watched that together. Actually, it's kind of like the first... okay, anyways. It's going to get weird. We are going to be hopping into the finals here momentarily. Man, speaking of feels, Jesus, I watched... there's a streamer I love, Dear Nadia. Do you know who that is?
Yes. You mentioned her a couple of times.
Yeah, well, I got a big streamer crush on her, whatever. She played... I had never seen the end of it. The end of Life is Strange. I'm not spoiling anything because that's a phenomenal game. I've never gotten to play it, but I watched her play it through episode 1 through the most recent one where she finished the game. And
so there's multiple endings, so I'm not sure which one you're talking about.
I went to YouTube to look them all up is my point. And dude, I'm not gonna lie, like by the time I was done watching both sides of this and like the way things like unfolded, I had a pretty bad case of the something in my eyes last night. You know what I'm saying? Like my feels were I went on a field trip.
Yeah, it's a pretty good game, I think. I've seen like playthroughs of it also. I haven't actually played through it myself, but I don't know. There's some good games there.
Yeah, I really like those sort of story-driven games. But anyways, we're gonna go to a small break, guys. We're getting the lobby set up right now for the finals. It's gonna be Armani versus True in a best of 5 ZvZ. And actually, with the way this times out, almost ends up being perfect. So the second this is done, I think WCS regional qualifiers will be starting up. So you guys will have if you're just waking up, a full morning of StarCraft ahead of you. But we're going to be back in 2 minutes.